Another companion forever. A few days ago, my mother shared with us about her relationship with her father. This is a photograph of my mother, that's my mother, and that's her father. She said, once I finished school and became an adult, we became very close. My dad would write to me every week when I was in college, and he would always be with me, be there to meet me at the station when I came home. The two of us would go for long walks, and he would share all his hopes and his disappointments. He used to also say, don't worry about the future. I'll build you a beautiful home. He was an architect and builder. And then her father discovered that he had stomach cancer and didn't have long to live. But he didn't tell his family about it. Now his goal in life was to walk his daughter down the aisle. That's what he shared with a friend. He wanted to see her happily married. And my grandfather was very thankful when my mother met this young naval officer, a good man, and the son of a respected friend. So Grandpa Philip fulfilled his hope. He took his daughter down the aisle. And it was just a few months after they got married that my mom received a letter from her father. He said, now you have a good man to be with you all your life. Come and meet your father who doesn't have much time left. Of course, my mom came and spent time with her beloved father. As soon as he saw her, he guessed that she was expecting a baby, and he was so happy when she said yes. Soon after, he passed away. He was just 68. In today's gospel, Jesus was in the position of my grandfather Philip. It was his last meal with his friends, and he knew that he would die very soon and had very little time left with them. He had been their guide, their teacher, their friend, and now he wanted to make sure that they would be okay, that they would continue their journey of life safely. So let's find out as we read the gospel what Jesus' plan was. He said two things. He was going to send them something, and he also told them something that they needed to do. Let's see if you can pick these out. A reading from the Gospel of St. John, chapter 14. At that time, Jesus said to his disciples, if you love me, you will keep my commandments. And I will ask the Father, and he will give you another helper to be with you forever. This is the Spirit of truth, whom the world cannot receive, because it neither sees him nor knows him. You know him, because he abides with you, and he will be in you. I will not leave you orphaned. I am coming to you. In a little while the world will no longer see me, but you will see me. Because I live, you also will live. On that day you will know that I am in my Father, and you in me, and I in you. They who have my commandments and keep them are those who love me. And those who love me will be loved by my Father, and I will love them and reveal myself to them. The word of the Lord. Now Jesus had a plan to see that his friends did well. What was Jesus going to ask his Father to give his disciples? What was he going to send to them? What did he say? Another helper who would be with them forever. Now Jesus said, another helper. Whom do you think was the first helper? I think he was talking about himself. Now, actually, the Greek word that Jesus used, parakletos, means more than just helper. There's no English word that can compare with it. And it literally means the one called alongside. Does that make you think of someone walking and a companion? So the Holy Spirit is someone who walks along with us. He guides us, He comforts us, He helps us. We could call Him a companion. Now, what else did Jesus call this companion or helper? He called Him the Spirit of Truth. What does this mean? What was Jesus trying to tell us about the Holy Spirit? The Greek word in the Bible is for truth is aletheia. And in Greek mythology, Lethe was the river that the dead drank from to forget their past. And the first part of the word, is like our English un. So aletheia is just the opposite of Lethe. It means waking up, being alive, seeing things as they truly are. It means the truth. So, what is Jesus saying? That the Spirit is like a river that gives life, that wakes us up, that helps us to know the truth. He is our companion who shows us the way, shows us what life really is. He will lead us closer and closer to the Father and the Son, like a river that goes into an ocean, the ocean of love. So that's the first thing that Jesus said. He was going to send the Spirit. But he also told his disciples that there was something that they needed to do. He said it at the beginning of the gospel and at the end as well. So, what did Jesus say? He said, if you love me, you will keep my commandments. And then he added a blessing. He said, and those who love me will be loved by my Father, and I will love them and reveal myself to them. What a wonderful blessing. This is an artist's idea of what this means to be loved by Jesus, to be loved by God, the Father and the Son, to be led by the Spirit. And what is the key for us? What do we have to do? We have to keep His commandments, to obey Him. Does that sound a little hard, like Jesus is asking us to do something really difficult and the promise is like out of reach? Maybe like a dad saying to his son, if you come first in the whole of the state, I'll give you a motorbike. But Jesus is not telling us to do something impossible. What did He mean when He's saying, keep my commandments? What was that commandment which He was talking about? In the same farewell discourse, He keeps repeating this many times. He said, this is my commandment, that you know this, love one another as I have loved you. We kept repeating, if you want to love me, love one another. And this is the key. And He said, also, I'm telling you all this so that your joy may be full. So it's not about rules and laws, but just about trying our best to love God by loving others. And if we are trying, that is good enough for God. That's what our retreat preacher recently told us. He sees our effort, and that's good enough for Him. But trying to love is our part, and our companion, the Holy Spirit, will do the rest. This reminds me again of my parents' story. My grandfather's desire really came true. My dad has really been the companion for life to my mum. They are 68 years married. And they've been through all the challenges of life, always there for each other, supporting each other. But what about us? We may not have a human companion. We may not be lucky enough to have a husband or wife who's always with us. But Jesus wants to give us this companion, the Holy Spirit, who's better than a human companion because he's all wise, he's always with us. And he's the one who leads us closer and closer to that ocean of love that is the love of the Father and the Son. What is our part? To try to love those in our life. Are we ready to do that? Out of love for God, to love those around us, and to take the hand of our companion and follow him wherever he leads. Spend some time and talk to him about this. So there are just 2 more weeks for the Feast of the Holy Spirit. Let's get ready to welcome him into our lives.